I'm Thomas Hendricks with Chrono 24. We are back from our adventure out east, and it was a fantastic time. Lots of really good food, super nice people, and our team even got pulled off the street to be featured in a Japanese TV show, but that's a separate story. Today, I want to tell you about one of the coolest, nerdiest things we did during our stay in Tokyo, and that is visiting the Seiko Museum. Here are my 3 favorite things that I saw there. The Seiko Museum is a multi-story museum covering the multifaceted story of Seiko from its founding to the present. The museum is located in the Ginza neighborhood of Tokyo, so it's very close to the Seiko flagship store, the Grand Seiko flagship, and other brand boutiques, so you can kind of squeeze a lot into one afternoon. The first thing that caught my eye was this mass of melted pocket watches that looks like a Giacometti sculpture from a nightmare. These are from 1923, and they were recovered from the Seikosha factory following the Great Kanto earthquake. Now, earthquakes are not uncommon in Japan, and the fact that they named this one the Great Kanto earthquake indicates that it caused quite a lot of damage. The pocket watches belong to customers who sent them to the repair shop run by Kentaro Hattori, the founder of Kei Hattori & Co. watch dealership and the founder of Seikosha, which would later become Seiko. Kentaro earned a lot of trust and respect by replacing each damaged pocket watch from the earthquake with a new version. 1 month later, Kei Hattori & Co. recommenced their wholesale watch business, and Kentaro completed a temporary facility to manufacture Seikosha timepieces. Approximately 1 year later, with facilities up and running and some positive press surrounding the company, Kentaro launched the first wristwatch bearing the name Seiko. Every good story has some conflict to it, and this melted jumble of metal signifies how Seiko quite literally rose from the ashes to become the powerhouse brand that they are today. We can take for granted how orderly our calendar system is, with regular intervals for seconds, minutes, hours, and days. Japan was actually pretty late in adopting a fixed time system of 24 hours a day, and the Seiko Museum has a cool collection of clocks operating on Japan's seasonal time system. So during the Edo period, before Japan adopted the Gregorian calendar that we use today, that was in 1873, they relied on things called Wadoki, which were these traditional Japanese clocks operating on a seasonal time system. Much of the mechanics for these clocks came from Europe, but the way that they displayed time was very Japanese and very complicated. Under the seasonal system, there were 6 units of time for a day and 6 for night. Each unit was known as a toki, but because of the shifting seasons, the length of each toki was constantly changing, as was the length of each day and night. And as many Grand Seiko fans know, Japan has a lot of seasons, 24 to be exact, so owners of these Wadoki clocks had to constantly adjust the operating speed and the position of the hands to keep them accurate. And here you are complaining about winding a manual watch in the morning. Lastly, let's talk about the funky vintage stuff displayed on the top floor of the Seiko Museum. Here you'll find a buffet of colorful chronographs. The kinetic chronograph that Jay Leno loves was 4 separate dials. You'll see character clocks for Godzilla and Ultraman, and you'll see the Seiko TV watch from 1982, which allowed, or kind of allow, wearers to watch television using the small screen on their wrist. Now, this technology did not really catch on, but that makes it more fun in my opinion, because it's like a 1980s time capsule you get to see. You also see plenty of watches exemplifying Taro Tanaka's grammar of design, which prioritizes sharp angles and clean design elements. But the things that will actually send me down a rabbit hole after this are the weird watches that break all those rules and have fun doing it. So if you are lucky enough to find yourself in Tokyo in the near future, definitely check out the Seiko Museum. It is a must-hit stop for watch lovers like us. I'm Thomas Hendricks with Chrono 24 in New York City. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, enjoy your watches.